Part A of the Constitution, absolutely. If there's one thing we know about the federal government, it's that it is a government of few and defined powers. James Madison got it right, the Constitution got it right. There can be no other way. Unfortunately, we have members of Congress who have gotten it exactly backwards, that instead of the few and defined powers belonging to the federal government, they've assigned that to the states. And we've got to flip that around. They completely have misunderstood the problem. Now, the 10th Amendment is a brilliant thing, but just as it's true that any power that's not given to the federal government is reserved to the states, a power that is given to the federal government isn't reserved to the states. And so what happens when Congress takes that and flips it around and says that our powers are broad and undefined, virtually unlimited, then the states have very little left. That leads us to Part B of the question. Who decides? Who's the arbiter? Bad things have happened as a result of the fact that Americans have been too eager, too willing to allow this document to be the exclusive province of the Supreme Court of the United States. Having worked there, I can tell you, sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes they get it really wrong. Now, the saving grace of that is, we don't have to rely on the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court doesn't own this document. We do. That's why what we need to have are men and women who are elected to the United States Congress who are willing to stand up for the document. Not according to what the Supreme Court says members of Congress can get away with, but to what the words themselves say and how they were understood by the founding generation. That's how we preserve the rule of law. It's the only way. We have to do it, and we have to do it this year. Now, as far as the rights that the states have when they go out, we have the 17th Amendment. We got rid of it. It was unfortunate. I wish we could get rid of the 17th Amendment. I like the system we had with the 17th Amendment beforehand. I'd like to get rid of it.
The few and defined powers given to the federal government have no longer been few. It has been huge, large, many, as much. They take as much power as they can possibly take that the American people will let them get away with. We as Americans need to take the time to get more involved in our political system. Whether we're Republicans, whether we're independent, whether we're Democrats, it does not matter. The federal government will continue taking more and more power away from the American people as long as we sit back and we do nothing. This is the time that the American people need to stand up and make a change in the federal government. We, the people of the United States of America, hold the power, not the government, not the federal government, not the president, not the senators, not the House. We, as a people, need to return the power where it belongs, and we need to let our elected officials know that if they do not do what we ask them to, we will get them out of office. Their days will be numbered, and we will replace them with someone who will stand up and protect the United States Constitution against all enemies. I do believe that the people in this country are waking up, and they will make a change, and constitutionally, we will elect somebody that will stand for our rights and return power back to the people.
Thank you. Now, James Madison wrote the Constitution. He's known as the father of the Constitution. He had a broad liberal arts degree. He did not have a law degree. There are many things that were very wise that were written into the Constitution, and I think the issue that we're talking about here with these three questions are back to the money again. Follow the money. Where's the accountability? We have many things that we can do as citizens. It is within the power of the people. That's where the change must come. It's what we are all doing here tonight, and I want to thank you for all being here and for being active involved. Here are a couple of things that I would like to suggest. The Constitution, Article 5, does give the states a right to petition the federal government to apply for a constitutional convention. And if 2/3 of the states do so, then Congress calls the convention and sets the rules. I am not in favor of a constitutional convention for this reason, because you look at the lay of the land, and if we want to put a constitutional convention in the hands of the wrong people, put it in the hands of Congress, and that's where it will be. So, but we do have that right. But here's what I think we need to focus in on. What are some practical things that we can do? Number one, the fox is guarding the hen house right now. They're setting their own salaries and wages. Now, yes, this is in the Constitution, but it was meant to be only a temporary thing in context of when it was written, because the states didn't have money, Congress did. So we need to relook at that one. And wouldn't it be nice to be able to smoke them out and see who would oppose the idea of having the states set their salaries for them? You like that idea? Mm-hmm. Okay. And the second thing, accountability. 4 times a year, our senators ought to be required to meet with their state legislators, not to give them their agenda to the state, but for the state to give our senators the agenda. Like that? Okay. So that's where I think we need to head on this, and it's all about accountability and following the money.
How many of you think that the federal government has few and defined powers? Does anybody think that the federal government is limited in its power today? I mean, I will tell you exactly. I think this question, so my answer is no, I don't believe it. To the first question, because they are stepping into every aspect of what we do. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. I worked in I do some international consulting work, and the Great Salt Lake has the best source of brine shrimp in the world. It's a feeder stock for raising shrimp. And our best clients for selling our brine shrimp are overseas farms that produce shrimp, and then it comes back into the United States. The federal government, in trying to protect a few special interests down in Florida and Louisiana, wanted to put tariffs on all of the shrimp coming back into the States. Well, that hurt our ability to export from this state, because they were overreaching into a business. They weren't allowing uniform application of codes and fairness, which is how I read the Constitution. They ought to treat everybody the same. We shouldn't have special laws or the Equal Protection Clause. There are lots of different things in the Constitution that say we should be fair and reasonable. But in every time, Sharon was right, follow the money. Every time Congress had find some money or tax something, Ronald Reagan used to say it, you know, if it moves, let's see, if it moves, tax it. If it keeps on moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. Okay? And that's what the federal government does today. It overreaches at every single opportunity it can. Congress wants to legislate this and that and the other thing. We are better moving power to the states, because the states receive the benefit or the negative aspects of any government decision that's made. They suffer from those decisions. So the Supreme Court is supposed to decide if they overstep their bounds, but I think we have to take power back into our hands. We have to empower the state legislature to get back to its rightful position in controlling its policies. Thank you.